What if I told you there is a certain amount of money that you could save in order to live off of it for the rest of your life? Some might call it financial independence, some might call it financial freedom, but today I'm going to share with you something known as the 4% rule, and it helps you determine exactly how much you need to retire. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss this. I'm Rich Smith, and one of the money lessons they never teach you in schools is exactly how much money you need to walk away from that job, to wake up every morning and do whatever you want because you have enough in the bank, in investments, in savings to live off of for the rest of your life. But real quick, drop a like for this video. It helps spread the word to more people. So let's cover what is the 4% rule. Basically, it's more research than it is a rule. I don't know many people actually living off of it, and if you are one, please leave me a comment down below. I'd love to talk to you. But this is how it works. With the 4% rule, you can withdraw 4% of the money you have saved up and potentially never run out of money. Therefore, whatever that percentage is, that 4% of your nest egg, of your savings, of your investment, needs to be able to cover all your expenses, pay all your bills, keep a roof over your head. But, of course, most people don't just want to take care of their normal survival needs. So it kind of is a little bit of a balancing act here. Yes, using the 4% rule, you can figure out how much income, how much money you have each and every year in retirement to spend. But if you're planning to retire, if you're planning to walk away from your job, you also need to figure out, on the other hand, how much you actually need in savings, in investments, so you can take out that percentage that covers everything in your normal everyday life. So let's think about this using a simple number like 100. For example, if you had $100,000 saved up, then each and every year you could take out 4%, which would be about $4,000. Now, after the first year, based on this research, you can make adjustments for inflation, so that 4% number goes up a little bit every single year. But let's be honest, $4,000 over the course of a year is really not enough for anyone to live off of. So let's multiply that times 5. Let's say you saved up $500,000. Well, then you could withdraw estimated $20,000 from your investments and never run out of money. And moving on, let's get to some of the big numbers. If you saved up to $1 million, then you should be able, using the 4% rule, to withdraw $40,000 each and every year and potentially never run out of money. Now, I say potentially never run out of money because things happen. Maybe you decide to retire and you take those first few years to do a lot of traveling. I've seen people withdraw and hear about them taking some amazing trips those first 1, 2, 3 years. And maybe later on you don't withdraw as much. Maybe you're living at home, you're living that slower life. Now, stay with me here because whenever you're talking about like research assignments, research projects, people get a little lost in the weeds. But this research was done a whole bunch of different ways. And in order for the money to last something like 50 years, they decided to have half of the allocation, half the portfolio, be stocks, 50% stocks. Think total stock market, like an S&P 500. And then the other 50% would be the total bond market. So usually people think of retirement like the last 30 years of life. But for those of us, myself included, that are looking to retire early, I want this money to last something like 50 years, maybe 50 years plus. So according to the research, if you withdrew just 3%, then all variations of starting this year, high year, low year, it didn't matter. All of those tests, all of that research ended up working out just fine withdrawing just 3%. Now, there's going to be little room for error here because according to the research, that 4% really is the sweet spot. Nearly all or most portfolios lasted close to 50 years when you withdrew that 4%. Now, some failed. It depends on that year when you start making the withdrawals, and that is luck of the draw, right? Nobody can predict the future or have a crystal ball. But as soon as you started to get as high as 5 or 6% withdrawal rate, many more of the portfolios, many more of those simulations fell short. So moving on, a guy like myself has a pension that when I retire, let's say it's age 55, I am entitled to projected right around $60,000 per year if I end up teaching for close to 30 years. However, realistically, at some point in the very near future, I'm going to take my years of experience and move on to other ventures. So if I know, for example, that I'm still going to have a pension that is close to $40,000 per year, then I know that that pension is worth right around $1 million. However, I will not be able to collect that until I'm 62. Now, being in my late 30s recording this video as of today, I know that I'm going to need investments to help bridge that gap and get me to the next 50 years, hopefully living into my 80s or 90s. Now, like many of you, even if I walk away from one job, I don't think I'm just going to be sitting in the backyard or sipping pina coladas on the beach. Rather, I still plan to make money. In fact, I plan to make lots of money. I did a video all about affiliate marketing, and I challenged all the viewers out there to make $1 million. Now, full disclosure, I have not done that yet, but I am extremely close. However, earning $1 million as an independent contractor, as a sole proprietor, as a business, does not take into account paying taxes, self-employment taxes, the business expenses that you pay on that gross. Therefore, I know that if I can get $1 million in the bank, that still, invested properly, is only going to get me, if I follow this 4% rule, a safe withdrawal rate of about $40,000 per year. Now, I know and you know that $40,000 is not much to live off of, especially if you have a family, a couple of kids, a mortgage, car payment, student loans, what have you. Therefore, I'm setting my goal to something closer to 1.5 million invested properly. I'm thinking a bit more aggressively than that 50-50 portfolio. I'm thinking something closer to 75-25 or 80-20, meaning 80% stocks, 20% bonds. Now, in my situation, this will not be in a retirement account. I've already for years been maxing out my 403Bs, my 457s, our Roth IRAs when we were still allowed to contribute. Therefore, this money will be post-tax money. However, if I am gaining interest year after year and then making withdrawals from that brokerage account, there will be some additional taxes to pay. Therefore, that number that I mentioned before, that 1.5 million, is going to need to be supplemented by me continuing to earn money in exactly the same way you see me now, making videos on YouTube, affiliate marketing, my website, my podcast. So big picture key takeaways. I shared a little bit about exactly how much you would need in retirement using that 4% rule. And for many people, you're going to need to think about that in terms of retirement age, money in the bank, and how much you need each and every year to live off of. Now, similar to myself in the story I just shared with you, if you plan to continue to earn, if you plan to travel, if you plan to have a family, still have some sort of bills to pay, then you're going to need to earn money in addition to having your investments to help supplement and live off of. Therefore, it's a very good idea to do a little inventory right now. Do a little bit of math. Maybe it's late at night, on the weekend. Maybe you're bored at work and got some free time. Figure out exactly how much you have to spend each and every month. If there is some debt to still pay, once that's paid off, how much would you still need to live off of? We're talking food, travel, if you've got kids, paying for that, big house projects, weddings, fun cars, boats, you name it. You need to really take a step back and look at that big picture. But once you know the path that you're on, you can attempt to plan and get there, if not in the immediate future, sometime in the distant future. Now, leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think about the 4% rule. I've only touched on the surface of some of the research, and there are other guardrail rules once you're actually withdrawing money that we could explore and play around with. So let me know what you think. Also, I mentioned my website. It's full of articles and other videos and podcasts, so check it out. And if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.